Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome to my guest design spot for Trinity Stamps. So excited to be celebrating their release. Awesome products. So we're going to go through some of them that I used for this card project here. You may notice that there is a little "don't look here" square on my screen. That's because I wasn't supposed to show you something, so I had to block it out. But here's this little cute stamp set. It's called Smitten. Adorable. I can't wait to color that up. We have another one. This is a partridge in a pear tree called Bear Tree. So cute. I'm using that for today, as well as this Merry Christmas sentiment set, which is going to be used in the card as well. And I'm also going to be playing with this amazing stencil. It's a layering stencil for a tree. So that's super fun. I can't wait to show you how I played with this for this card project. I did a little bit of something different with each layer. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm pulling out my stencil here, and I am going to choose to work on Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm also going to be using my new Blender Buddy brush from Trinity Stamps, and I am going to be using Catherine Puller inks. So I have an array of inks that you can use with this. Really, any dye ink or even pigment inks will work. So you're pretty much golden as long as you have some ink to use. So I'm going to put down a very light layer as the first layer. And then over here, I'm going to do the same on a piece of masking paper. I use sticker paper from Rock, Paper, Scissors. But here I wanted to show you real quick. I got this from Amazon, and it's this spongy type material, like rough, and I'm going to use it to clean off my brushes. I thought that was going to be really cool. You can also rinse it and get the ink off after it's been used for a while, but I'm going to try this out and see if I like it, because it's better than how I am dirtying up my microfiber cloths so frequently. So I'm going to see if this is a great alternative. It's very cheap. I got like 6 additional little foam thingies, or whatever they're called, the pads to clean with for my stuff. So I'll let you know. The verdict is still out. Okay, so I'm going to use the second layer with some darker Catherine Puller ink. I'm going to put my masking paper right over this. Love this masking paper. It's brilliant for what we use it for, and it's super cost effective when you buy it in bulk, and I'm never going to stop using masking paper, so it's a great find. Okay, I'm going to go to the back of this front one, because remember, when we're masking things, you want to keep whatever you want in the front scene, you want to do first. And so that's why we did that tree first, masked it off, and then we're going to put the trees in the back. I chose a portrait style A2 size card because I really wanted the bulk of this card to be those trees and have them be a focal point. I'm loving this stencil. I think it's so easy to use, and it's a lot more affordable than if I were to get a layered stamp. They're easier to make. They're less expensive to make, and so therefore for the consumer, stencils are a fantastic find and buy. So if you can find layering stencils out there, I highly recommend them. So I'm going to go back and do that again. And I'm not going to need to mask off those other 2 trees, only the front one. And so now we can see that we have this scene coming together. Again, using my little cleaner brush there to see if that works. And I did try it on some white paper to see if it came off, and it does a pretty good job. All right, so now I'm going to be using my Bear Tree. He's going to be the focal point, but I'm going to pull out a new product here. I finally got, or Ohuhu finally came out with, brush tip alcohol markers. Sorry, I'm just speaking all over myself today. But they had come out a long time ago, like a couple months ago, with just a half of this set. It's like 40 something, but now they've doubled it. Very excited about that. I wanted to try them. They are very good brush tip markers. Not suggesting you get these markers if you have an alcohol marker that works for you, but if you are looking for a brush tip that's really affordable, a fraction of the price of a lot of other brush tip markers out there, I would recommend these greatly. You can see how they blend together. I've done a color chart with them, I do for all of my alcohol markers and all of my mediums, but you can see that I'm getting a super good blend with these markers. The brush on these is a lot more firm than the Master Markers one that I have. Master Markers are good for juiciness and for full coverage, and I've gotten some really good results with them. It also does come down to your where you're at in your skill progression, because you're still going to get bleeding with any alcohol marker that you use, depending on how much you're letting it sit on the paper, your saturation, all of those little tips and tricks. They don't really go away too much even if you change up the marker. So the better you get with alcohol markers in general, I feel like you can work with these different types of markers a little bit better. It made sense in my head before I said it, so hopefully it's making sense coming out. But just practice is essentially what it all boils down to. I really like these markers. I'm going to be using them a lot in upcoming videos. I love my bullet nib markers, though. I have the Arteza and the Ohuhu. I get great results with them, even when I need to cover up or color up large portions of an image. I just use the chisel tip. It works just as good for me. That's me, though. If you are a diehard brush nib and you're looking for an affordable, highly recommend these. So that's my 2 cents about the brush markers. So I am finishing up coloring this guy. Really easy to color, a small image. I'm keeping him a regular bear color, and of course that beautiful little red bird up there. I'm going to use my Spellbinders Prism to die cut him out. I have the coordinating die. You can also use your scan and cut. You can fussy cut. Seems like not too bad of an image to cut out if you're going to leave a little white border there. Okay, I'm going to go back now. I wanted to let my panel dry in enough time because I'm going to be using some embossing powder. So I'm taking my little ink spot of Versamark ink and I am pouring on, I skipped the other two. I'm just showing you this one. But I'm pouring on some white embossing powder. Now, this is from Hero Arts and it's like puffy embossing powder. So it doesn't come up off the paper too much, but it definitely does leave a little bit of a texture, which is super fun for snow. So the final layer of this tree and the stencil is going to give me this snowy effect over my trees. And I just am loving that. I do take out these 2 markers here, very, very light blue. One's a little bit more of a gray blue, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that to the background. I don't want to color up my sky in anything stark. I really want it to be like a snowy scene, and you can have a clear blue sky with snow on your trees. I mean, that's a possibility, but for what I was looking for, I just kind of wanted that overcast look in the background. So that's why I'm choosing to take my alcohol markers and just kind of blend that together. Really easy to do when you're doing skies. Try to keep your strokes nice and even and straight up and down, and then you can get the blend pretty good going with the next color that you're trying to mix it with. Just so you know, I didn't show it, but on the ground of that snow, I did use the white embossing powder as well. So the whole bottom of this card is covered in that white embossing powder, just to keep the texture consistent throughout the card. Okay, so I'm done with that, and I'm really loving the way that this is coming together, but I have to put a star on the top of my tree. It's just calling my name. So I'm pulling back out my stencil. I'm going to use my Versamark ink spot, and I'm just going to smush it in there. And that's another great thing about this stencil is you're going to get additional pieces. So there's like some snowflakes as well as ornaments. But I'm just going to stick with this star, and I'm going to use gold embossing powder. And gold embossing powder is always fun for me because when you put it on the cardstock, it's super boring, but when you heat it up, it's magical. So I used gold. And then I'm going to take from the Merry Christmas Sentiment set. I love this font in the Merry. So I'm going to stamp that out with some VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink in the black, and the Big Merry and the Small Christmas. And then I'm just trying to figure out my placement for my little guy. I did pop him up on some foam tape. Using some art glitter glue on my card base, we'll finish off this card. I'm not going to add anything additional. You can use Nuvo drops for ornaments. You can fancy this up however you want or keep it as is. I had so much fun playing with all of these products. The new release is so much fun, and it's also really going to inspire you, get you ready for those holiday cards coming up. I could mass produce with that stencil easily, and that's what I'm looking for when it comes to holiday cards, because I need easy peasy. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to hop around for the release and check out what everyone's making. You're going to be super inspired, and I will link what I used below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Until next time, have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.